What's up guys, Marvelous Mark here, and I'm here to bring you another Walking Dead video. Today I'm going to be doing Season 2, Episode 2, Bloodletting. This episode was actually really good. I really liked it. Frank Darabont did a really good job, and from what I've seen from Frank Darabont, from what's different from Scott and Gimple, is Frank Darabont, I feel like he gets more into the characters. We get more time, we get more dialogue with the characters when Frank Darabont was in running things with the Walking Dead. With Scott and Gimple, like he doesn't do as much. He does good for what he's doing, you know. And Scott and Gimple, he's just he's just throwing things together. But when we would watch back in it was season 1, and then this season that I'm watching now, I don't think Scott and Gimple came on starting season 3, I believe. I can't remember. Remind me in the comments section. But Scott and Gimple, we just throw things together, and to me sometimes it doesn't mesh well, it doesn't work right, and sometimes the dialogue's sort of messed up. And with Frank Darabont, and like this episode especially, there was so much dialogue in here, but I loved every single bit of it because we got to see Shane and Rick just talk. And you know, Rick, of course, he's down because Carl got shot in the last episode, and now this is basically the aftermath of that episode. And you know, they're talking he's making him more confident in himself, so Rick can be more confident. He needs that because right now he's basically doubting his choices that he took, and he's blaming himself for everything, blaming himself for Carl get shot, blaming himself for Sophia and things like that, which is it's crazy, you know. But Shane, like that dialogue between them two in Herschel's house was amazing. But let's just start from the beginning, all right? So in the beginning, we meet the guy named Otis who shot Carl, but it was an accident. Of course, the bullet went straight through, clean through the deer, and got Carl. You know, it got him, and it's not his fault. It's no one's fault. It was an accident. So Otis tells him, okay, look, we're gonna go down here. We're gonna go to Herschel's house. Just go straight down, and you'll see Herschel's house. So Rick's running down there, Carl in his arms, and Maggie's there, which is Herschel's daughter, Maggie Green. She's a really important character to the series and to the comic books, so look out for her. They start running there. She screams for her dad, and they all come out. And then Rick tells him as soon as he goes up there, like, he's been shot by your man, things like that. And Herschel, as soon as that happens, he tells him, okay, take him inside, put him on the bed, they're gonna get started. He asks Rick what kind of blood type does he have. Of course, they both have the same blood type. It's A positive, I think. And Rick, basically, he has to give blood to Carl because Herschel, he's not a doctor, he's a vet. He's a veterinarian, which is funny. Later in the episode, actually made me laugh the way he said it. But he's actually a veterinarian, but still he's still a doctor in my eyes. Like, I mean, what else can you ask for? This is the closest you can get, then you might as well take it, you know. So there's 6 pieces of the bullet that went inside Carl. It scattered. So Herschel has to take all 6 pieces of the bullet out, and some are deeper than others, some are closer than others, but still, like, Carl's going to lose a lot of blood, and it could kill him because there was a scene with Carl and Herschel was taking out the first piece of that bullet, and Carl was just going crazy. Like, he couldn't take it. I mean, he was awake. There was no antibiotics. They didn't put him under so he could just be asleep while they're doing this. None of that, because they don't have that. Herschel only has certain tools, and of course Herschel is a major character in this show and in the comics also. But in this show, he is a major character. But yeah, so they tell him after that procedure, you know, after that, Carl passes out, and Rick's freaking out. You know, he's freaking out, and he wants Lori here. So Maggie ends up going to get Lori, and Shane and Otis, they end up going to a school to get supplies for Carl, basically like a respirator, certain antibiotics, certain things, so it could help Carl not die. Basically, it'll help him be more stable while Herschel is actually trying to save his life, you know. And over there, back with the group, it's Daryl, Lori, Andrea, Carol, Glenn, I believe, just 5 of them, yeah. And Dell and T-Dog are back at the RV. Actually, that was really good dialogue too. You know, T-Dog basically was telling Dell that why are we here? What are we contributing to the group? Basically, they left us here because we're the weakest. You're like 7 years old. It's like I'm a black guy, and look at my circumstances. Like, look at me. Like T Dog was, I mean, of course, like the loss of blood that he got from his arm right here, and then the heat is basically getting to him. So he has a fever. He hasn't been bitten or anything, but still, like that heat is getting to him. The fever is getting to him. So he's starting to say crazy things. And him and Dell have the interaction. Dell's just calming him down and everything like that. And that was really good dialogue too. That's why I like Frank Darabont so much for that. After that, everyone who's in the woods that were looking for Sophia, they're all heading back, And Daryl, of course, in this episode, Daryl's really good with the dialogue too. Like I wish Daryl was more like this throughout, like at least right now in like season 7 and season 6, because really we don't see Daryl act like that anymore. Like he just butts in conversations. He's just a badass, Like he kills a walker and shut up, Like I wish he was more like that now, and he's more emotional now than he was back then. But I can see why he's more emotional, because things that happen later down the line. But I just really wish he was more old Daryl than new Daryl. But Andrea ends up getting spooked by one walker. She ends up falling on the floor. So then Maggie comes to her rescue, hits the walker one time inside the head. Then Daryl ends up killing it. She ends up telling Lori that you need to come now. Rick needs you. Your son Carl has been shot. So of course Lori, she goes. Everyone else, Maggie tells them where they live and everything, so they can head there. And everyone heads back to the RV. For Sophia, they said that they're gonna leave supplies and a big sign for her. Daryl and Dell are gonna stay the night while everyone else goes to the farm, because Glenn needs to take T-Dog so he can get help over there and see if they have any antibiotics for his wound. So yeah, that happened, and then there's some dialogue with Herschel and Rick, which was really good. I really like that too. Later down the line, you're gonna see more dialogue between them two, so it'll actually mean more. It'll be better than what it was on this episode, but it was still good. The ending, Shane and Otis are basically in a high school trying to get the medical supplies, and they get overrun. It was a lot of walkers for them to handle by themselves, and of course Otis, with his size, it'll slow down Shane, because Shane can get away, Like, I don't think that's a problem for Shane. It's just waiting for Otis, because he wants to get Otis back. He doesn't want to leave Otis here or have Otis die or anything like that. So I understand, like, Shane's helping him, but still, sometimes you can't have dead weight on you. You can't have that person just on your back like that. So it's kind of, I feel like it's dead weight. I'm pretty sure a lot of you remember what happens in the next episode. So they get overrun in the school, and they close the gates of the school. They shoot the two glass windows of the doors, and they just lock it right there. But the thing's still rattling. It ended right there with that's why I like it too. Frank Darabont with the horror element to the show, which is really, really good. But yeah, guys, that's the episode, and I really liked it. I would probably give it a 10 out of 10, because especially to me, it was just really a dialogue-full episode, and the dialogue was really good. That I liked it. So there's nothing wrong with this episode. I give it a 10 out of 10. When there needed to be action, there was some action. So yeah, guys, this episode was really good. I really recommend you watch this episode. So remember, guys, I do my reviews for The Walking Dead every Wednesday and Thursday. I'll post it up around 9:30ish probably, or maybe a little before. So yeah, guys, make sure you just check that out. I'm gonna leave an icon down right here so you can subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button and come back and check back for more.